Morning, peeps. Little bit of a different video today because I actually get asked this quite a lot. Not on this channel. I go out drinking to a place where there's quite a few. Well, I'm not going to even say quite a few expats go. There's not many now. Before COVID, there were more because all call centres are there and high rises, and it's a bit of a entertainment area. So you do get a churn of expats. A lot come on holiday there, spend a couple of weeks, and use that as a base to travel around here from Manila. Some actually come for work because, as I said, there's all insurance companies, call centres, computer, Hewlett Packards, and things like that. So obviously there's an overseas contingent of staff what do come over to do training and things like that. So you can sit there having a beer, and occasionally some expat will sit down and you'll start having a chat. So I just wanted to, one of the main questions I'm always asked, a lot of these guys, they come here, I'm smoking guys, my IQOS, so excuse when I go quiet. One of the things they always ask is about, there's a big thing here, as a foreigner you cannot buy land and blah blah blah. That's true, there is ways around it with corporations and different things, but you'll never own it 100%. But there is ways to have control of it. Now, I don't know whether they're legal or not, but I know it happens. It probably does get a blind eye turned to, but would you want to be looking over your shoulder, hoping not to upset anyone in case they report you, and things like that. So the biggest question I get asked is rent or buy. Now, some guys are sometimes just talking about condos because they like the city life, and some guys are talking they want to farm and live in the province and live a simple life. I'll tell you now, I know a few people that do that simple life, and it's not a simple life. It's hard work, especially if you need an income and you don't have one. If you can live in province and you've got a nice, retirement package coming in monthly, then yeah, it's a good idea if you like the peace and quiet. But if you want to be making money, guys, in the province on a farm, whether it's a piggery, vegetables, I've seen now some expats raising rabbits and to try and sell. Look, it's not going to work. It really isn't. You need an income, 100%. And like I said, unless you're very rich. And I've gone through this before when I think you need to live here comfortably or just to survive. So I'm not going to get into that now. What I want to say is on this buying. So it doesn't matter, land is land. Now, as an example, around, it's a good few years ago now, maybe 6 years, maybe. Anyway, as an expat, I think most of us dream of a nice beachfront property. What could be better? Waking up in the morning, ocean views, put your trunks on, your budgie smugglers, and have a wander down and have a swim. Fantastic. A few things to look at on that. Now, a few years ago, I had this dream. And we went to a place called, it was up north in Luzon, Dingalan, up Ballet. Now, I saw it was 1,500 square metres of beachfront property and covered in coconut trees. There was no buildings on there. It was flattish land, maybe 2 metres above sea level, running down to the beach. The beach wasn't the best. It wasn't white sand, or it was a bit of sand, bit of stone, but it was okay, no problem. I think it was 1,500 square metre, and it was advertised at 300 peso a square metre, which is what, $6 US, about £5 British. So not a lot of money. So we drove up there. We actually found a little resort up there owned by an Aussie guy. I could tell you a few stories about him as well, but that doesn't matter. But the agent picked us up and we went to have a look. Now, we had to drive down this barangay road, which was only big enough for one vehicle at a time. I don't know where you would pass. And it went over 2 small streams. Now, bearing in mind this is dry season when we went, but you could see how big these rivers actually get in rainy season, and you could see 2 or 3 destroyed bridges downstream Courtop Rocks. So obviously all those bridges wash out. Now, the land itself was actually nice. It was just, for me, it was too remote, too far from Manila to do anything viable with, because don't forget, you've got to be living where you're building. You can't just leave it to other people. And it's like a 6-hour drive from Manila. There is talk of a new road going to be built, but there's problems with rebels, with mountains, because the generals from the military were actually staying in the resort we were in, and that's what they were there for, to assess the situation about building a new road. Now this is around, I think it's around 6 years ago-ish. Nothing's happened with that road yet, and I don't think it ever will. And if you ever drive up there and you see the mountains, you can understand why it's not an easy pass. You know, it's there's probably going to have to be tunnels and bridges, and it's going to cost a fortune. Is it worth it for that part of Philippines? I would think government think not, but I'm only speculating. So we had a look at that, 300 a square metre. Now, I was recently online looking at it, wasn't the same piece of land, it was in the same area, and it looked almost identical. I mean, that was advertised at 1,800 peso a square metre now. So let's just say cash, you'd get it for 1.5. So that's a big increase, you know, from $6 to $30. So what I'm trying to get across is here, I mean, on the video here you can see my garden. And I've explained before, this was an empty plot next door. I'm married, so, you know, we bought this. I'm happily married. I have no reason to think she's ever going to rip me off. But the other thing is, we're very similar in age as well. You know, the most problems I've seen here is 60-odd-year-old guys marrying 20-odd-year-old women. You know, these girls still want to party at 60. You know, you want to be in bed for 9 o'clock. So that's my opinion on why a lot of these don't work out. Some do, don't get me wrong. You know, you find the right girl, there's absolutely no problem. But let's just say, I would honestly say, just from my experience, what I've seen here, it doesn't work as much as it does, let's put it that way. I'm not going to put it into percentages, because I don't know. I can only say what I've seen. Ooh, oh, fucking, someone's just bit me on the leg. So, number one here for me, if you're a single guy coming here, obviously, don't look for the first girl and buy a place. If you want to buy a place, buy a condo. You can buy it in your name, job done. No one's going to take that away from you. If you want land, you can lease it. You know, you can get 25 with a 25-year extension. So, if you're in your 50s, you know what I mean, do you need 50 years? But you might find a girl, you might get married, and then at least she's got something, however long's left on lease, once you're taking a dirt nap. So, my advice would be, as a single guy coming here looking for a Filipina, just get renting somewhere. Even don't buy anything until, I would say, you've been married a couple of years, because this is not the Western world where you're courting a girl for years and then you decide to get married. You know, a lot of these guys come over here, they meet someone, and I'm not saying bar girls, I'm just saying they meet someone somewhere, could be in a bar, could be in a shopping mall, and within 6 months they're coming back and they're getting wet. Do they know anything about them girls? No. A lot of guys box clever, don't get me wrong, you know, they're playing the girls, you know, saying that they're loaded when they're not. Anyway, that's probably for another video. But my advice would be, as a single guy, just rent, you know. If you want to move straight onto a farm lot, lease it. You know, you can lease it in your name. There's no problem. You can lease it half and half with the girlfriend to make her feel a bit more secure. You can't cancel the lease without both of you, because you're the one paying. So that's another big issue here. She cannot sublease it or do anything with that land if the lease is in your name. Only the owner can decide to, let's say, terminate the lease, but they've got to, I don't know the ruling, but it's a long notice period, and you're to be compensated for anything you've done on that property. So let's just say you build a house, it costs you 2 million peso. I'm not going to say you're going to get 2 million peso back, they might settle on 1 million. But do these people have 1 million? No. So that's why you very rarely see people kicked off a land here. Let me just have a drink of my coffee. Now, I'm now going to just speak a little bit of experience here. Me, right? Before I came here, I mean, I was working in the Middle East, and you know, I met the wife who became the wife, and so on. So the house is here. I mean, I may as well give you figures. It's no big secret to me. The house cost 3.5 million peso. I paid an extra 200,000, which was way over the odds, but it still seemed like chicken feed to me because I wanted them to do some jobs in the kitchen, fit an extractor fan. There was a second bathroom, but it was only a WC, just a toilet. I wanted that making bigger, and I wanted a sink in there and another shower, and obviously all tiling and things like this. So they did all that, and I ended up paying 3.7 million. She ended up paying 3.7 million for the house. Now, what you're looking at in the camera here, the garden. Now, this plot is almost identical size to the house plot. They're both around. I think the house plot is 252 square metre, and this garden is 257 square metre. So just as a round number, just call it, it's a 500 metre square plot. Now, when we bought this land for the garden 4 years ago, and it took a lot of doing because they couldn't find the owners, and we employed this old woman who knows people in the barangay and records hall, and you know, she's a bit of a sleuth. So she actually found the owners of this land, and they were living in the States. So she managed to find them. I don't know how, but she tracked them down in the States. They had a relative here who they then put us in touch with to do the deal. And obviously this couple in America didn't even know what the land was worth. It's been in the family for generations. So at the time, land was going here for around 9,500 peso a square metre. So we ummed and ahed with them and did a bit of dealing, and then we offered cash, and we got it for 8,200 peso a square metre. So I think if you work that out, it's just over 2 million pesos just for 250 square metre. I could be wrong on that, and I'm not going to get my calculator out. I'll have to stop videoing. So 8,200 a square metre. Now that's about 4 years ago. Now, of course, I've invested a lot of money in it. I built the garden, I built the gymnasium, the swimming pool, I've got this cubble, you know, but this is just, you know, what you do on a weekend and in evenings to make a garden nice, you know. So how much more we spent on it? I would say around about maybe $1 million peso, $20,000. Because I know that I'll try and point, this house here, what we built, I actually built that for a brother, because I was working away all the time. And like I said in another video, my missus can't even lift a 5-gallon water bottle to change it on the machine. So, and plus you need a man around to do all them jobs. I mean, he's now gone, and we've turned that into a gymnasium, which I've shown before. But that house and the wall all the way around the property was, it came to around $6,000. Something like that. Oh no, sorry, no. Just the house was $6,000 to build. And I think it's around 20 square metre. It's one bedroom. I mean, you'll see it on another video if you go back. There's a bedroom, there's a kitchen area, living room, bathroom, shower. Not massive, but